But on the show today, we're turning our attention to security as Nigeria continues to battle terrorism and violent extremism across its northern states. There's growing interest in the role of technology in modern warfare, especially in the use of drones, surveillance, and local innovation. One of the boldest claims we've heard recently is that Nigeria no longer needs foreign help to fight insecurity, pointing to a new wave of collaboration between local manufacturers and the Nigerian military involving drones, weapon systems, and intelligence tools produced here at home. According to the claim, local manufacturers are already supporting counterterrorism efforts through drone surveillance in parts of the north, and that the Nigerian Air Force, they say, is now better equipped to service its own fleet locally. But just how deep is this collaboration? How much impact has it had in real operational terms? Who is also really, checking the claims and ensuring that it is real and true? What are the real prospects for defeating insurgency with indigenous technology and weapons? Let's bring in Bright Cheerful, who's chairman of the EIB Group, an indigenous drone manufacturing company and defense technology outfit in Abuja. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you.
Just
a pleasure being on the program today.
Absolutely. Great to have you. Just some clarity here. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a medical doctor by training. What led you into security, defense, manufacturing, and drone technology? Okay,
the truth is I've been involved in a lot of technology-related activities over the years. And getting involved in drone and security is something that I started about 7 years ago. And I'm happy that we've been able to grow our technology advancement as an organization, and now we're supporting the armed forces and the security agencies across Nigeria.
We'll get there, but when you say Nigeria no longer needs foreign help to fight insecurity, that's a really bold statement to make, especially in the face of the current challenges we are faced with when it comes to insecurity in the north. Not only in the north, I'm sure you're also following closely developments in, states like Benue and Plateau in the north central. What really do you mean? What have you seen to have made this statement?
Okay, the truth is the world has advanced beyond the combat operations of most countries has improved. Basically, Nigeria has gone beyond just moving troops into enclaves of terrorists and then going there, getting ambushed and all of that. There's an advancement of technology that is currently being deployed by the Nigerian armed forces. I will give you clear examples. Before troops move now, we have drones that go ahead of them and then keep an eye on certain places of interest to give some kind of heads up as to what is happening at those locations. They're able to see the terrorists, know their activities, study their operations, and then based on that, plan out how their attack or how their response would be. So this has actually reduced the casualties on the parts of the military. It has also reduced the wastage of weapons and assets. So what happens now is that by the time the people of interest, as the insurgents or the terrorists, are sighted, they can easily deploy drones with payloads that can actually neutralize them. And this is currently the practice at the moment in Nigeria. Some of the gains you've seen across the northeast and northwest states is as a result of technology introduction into the management of insurgency in Nigeria.
But give us a clearer picture. What exactly is AIB, for instance, producing? Where are these tools currently being deployed?
Okay, so at the moment, we're actually producing long-range drones. We have different versions. We have long-range drones that do up to 14 hours endurance, and can actually travel more than 300, 400 kilometers beyond visual line of sight. With the advancement of satellite technology, we can actually push the drone further than 300 kilometers to up to 1,000 kilometers. So you can actually have a drone that will take off from Abuja, go to Sokoto, or go to Zamfara, or go to Maiduguri, stay up there, survey the environment, identify the targets, neutralize the targets, and return back to Abuja safely without any problem, without the troops moving an inch from their base. So this is what has been happening. So EIB has been producing drones. We're producing long-range drones. We have smaller ones as well. We have drones that also carry heavy weapons, and then we also have surveillance drones in our production line. We also make some of the critical payloads as well locally. Yeah.
Let us talk numbers, because that puts it in right perspective, especially when you make such claims as we don't need foreign help in this regard. How many functional drones, for instance, are we producing? How many have been deployed for actual combat or surveillance missions?
Okay, so at the moment, in our fleets with the Nigerian Army, we have about 3 of our drones currently in use in the Northeast. We have nothing less than 30 of our drones currently across Nigeria that are currently providing support for the armed forces and, of course, the security agencies in Nigeria. We have orders that we're working on at the moment. Orders are in high numbers, and the good thing is that we have a very, very industrious team, smart, intelligent guys who are working hard around the clock to make sure that we meet up with the orders. We have a lot of orders for the security agencies, large numbers, and we're working on it on a daily basis. We work 24 hours in our facility.
You mentioned during your media tour that your drones are already being used to gather intelligence in the north. There are concerns, however, about the specifics in regards to how effective it's been. But let's also talk about real-world impact. Hundreds, I'm sure you are aware, have been killed in recent attacks in places like Yawata, Bokos, Mangu, and Guma in Plateau. There are also issues in Benue in recent time. With all these local defense tech that you're talking about, why are these attacks still happening? Is it that we're not deploying them, or we don't have enough?
Okay, the truth is that the technology of UAV has been deployed in some locations, but the coverage is at the moment, the coverage of the network of UAVs is still very minimal compared to the requirements for the entire country. And you must understand that these things fly over the Nigerian airspace, so we don't want to congest the entire airspace with drones. But I must tell you, if you want to know, there are drones currently overlooking Plateau State. There are our drones in Benue as we speak. We have drones of EIB currently in Zamfara. We have drones of EIB in Sokoto. We have drones of EIB in Maiduguri. We have drones in Yobe. We have drones in Niger State. But, you know, the need is enormous, and then we can't possibly exhaust all of that, you know, within this short time we have. But we are doing our best to see how we can spread. Let me just add, over the past 2.5 years, we have been responsible for the security of the AKK pipeline, the Abuja, Ajaokuta, Kaduna, Kano pipeline of the NNPC. We've been responsible for securing it. And all through the period we've been on that project, we've not had any incident. We have a lot of expatriates working along that right-of-way in very, very terrible locations. Red zones that are identified as homes of bandits. But since we started deploying technology in those locations, we've not had any incident whatsoever. And that is because the technology is working. We have also deployed in Zamfara. We've deployed in some locations. And now we're providing early warnings to both armed forces and the troops on ground. So the issues of losses from locations like Mangu, the Benue attacks are locations that we haven't really deployed the solutions we're talking about. But Recently, we have been asked to move to those states, and then we are currently offering services in those locations at the moment.
You know, there are talks, you have talked about military collaboration, but the way Nigerians understand this is whether or not there is peace and whether or not we are able to anticipate an attack and ensure that it doesn't happen. So if there are still killings in Plateau, for instance, and they go as often as hours without intervention. The last time we heard the governor, you know, say that military posts, there was a military post some 200 meters away from the last attack. It again brings to mind the efficiency of all of these innovations. Are these surveillance systems feeding real-time intelligence to the military in these regions? What exactly do you think the challenge is, and how can we curb it?
Okay, the truth is this. You know, these issues have been existing years before now, and then just over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 months, we've actually introduced technology. Though the armed forces have been doing a lot of operations using UAVs as far back as almost 10 years now. But you know, the issue is that the need, the challenges in the country is enormous, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. I'll paint a picture for you. For example, the Nigerian Air Force might be responding to an emergency in Yobe, and then some other thing is happening in Gombe State. They have to divert or reroute the aircraft to Gombe. And then just while you are in Gombe, another thing is happening in Port Harcourt. You keep rerouting the aircraft up and down, all of that. So what is needed is every state should have its own technology, like a UAV base, so that activities within the state can be well taken care of. The situation in Plateau is a bit ethno-cultural kind of issue. It's not necessarily, it's not something that, the approach of the military to Plateau is different. It's more of dialogue, because the issues of Plateau is more of differences between the Fulani residents of Plateau and of the indigents. So what Plateau basically needs more is more of a dialogue and more of perception management. If those issues are addressed, I don't think the issue of Plateau would be a major concern. It's not like Zamfara State, where there are obvious cases of banditry and terrorism. Borno, in Lake Chad Basin. The situation in Lake Chad, in Borno, in Yobe, in Sokoto, in Katsina, it's not the same with Benue and Plateau. Those two states have peculiar problems, and I don't think the military is the solution to the problem. I think it's more of a cultural kind of orientation and also a perception management issue. I've been to Plateau State. I've been there. I've studied the situation there. I have my staff there. We have almost close to 10 camps in Plateau State at the moment. And we have seen truly what the challenge is in Plateau. The approach in Plateau cannot be the same with that of Zamfara.
Are you saying that intelligence will not help us and tech insecurity is not really the challenge? I'm trying to find out exactly what you mean by how this situation differs from other areas, because if we have the intelligence, we have the military gadgets, we have the funding, what then is the problem?
Okay, so now let me paint a picture for you for the case of Plateau. Like I said, the terrorists that you are engaging in Zamfara are visible. You can tell that this person is actually maybe a foreigner who has come into Nigeria to come and kill people or come and steal people. Banditry, basically, you can tell who the bandits are. You can see them physically. The situation in Plateau is different, and I will be honest with you, it's completely different. Most of the problems or most of the killings in Plateau is within the state, within the communities. We have the Fulanis who feel that there are issues pertaining to land grabbing and other things, and then the locals are also wanting to reclaim their lands from the Fulani population over there. So you see situations whereby locals respond to maybe herders who go to their farms, mess up their farms, and then the locals go back, retaliate and engage those herders. Probably there are a couple of killings, or maybe their cattle are killed or something. And now the response from the Fulani guys is basically to go back and attack. So mostly the issues in Plateau State is more of retaliatory attacks between two different warring groups that are within the state. It's not like insurgents from, like in Zamfara, you have people coming from the Nigeria Republic to come and perpetuate some kind of acts of terrorism on Nigerians. The situation in Plateau, like I said, and Benue is completely different. It's more of a cultural issue.
I hear you.
And I feel perception management is what it needs.
Quickly, I want to take you up on the claim that Nigeria no longer needs foreign help in fighting insecurity. How, for instance, are locally produced drones faring when you compare them with imported alternatives in terms of range, precision, durability, and even cost?
Okay, the good thing is that the drones produced in Nigeria here, first, you don't have to pay in dollar. That's one. Two, if what the foreigners are giving you is something that can fly from one point to another point and give you eyes over certain locations, then if Nigerian drones can do the same, I think we're able to measure up with what is expected from the foreign organization. So what I'm saying in effect is that we have drones currently in Nigeria that can actually fly from Abuja, for example, and fly to Maiduguri, stay in Maiduguri for 8 hours, conduct operations over there and return back to Abuja as if nothing happened. So I feel we have the capacity right now to cater for the needs of Nigeria.
It sounds good that we can now locally produce these drones, and we have surveillance and local innovation in that regard. But how do you think they perform? Because that sounds good on paper, right? But how do they really perform under combat pressure? Have these weapons been tested or validated in real counter-terrorism or counter-insurgency missions?
Okay, so let me paint, like I always like to give examples. The truth is this, the Nigerian Armed Forces, the advantage of using locally made drones is that training becomes very easy. You are no longer under the control of foreign interests. You are able to manage your problem as a local, local situation. You are able to react fast. Maybe you don't know that when you buy something from a foreign entity, they still have control over those things. They want to have a back end way of assessing what you are seeing. I will give you a clear example. When you buy a drone, for example, from China, I can guarantee you that the Chinese still have access to monitoring what you're doing. And that is the reason why we really need to allow our homegrown solutions to assist us, effectively. The drones we have currently deployed is effectively dealing with the insurgency in Nigeria. I can guarantee you and I can tell you that.
All right.
One thing about the operations we do or the operations going on in the country, it's not meant to be in the public domain because of how sensitive it is. But the truth is that they are getting results, very good results.
Isn't part of the problem that while you manufacture tech, there is no enforcement chain, no clear line from drone surveillance to tactical ground response? Isn't that where the system breaks down?
I didn't get the question. Could you repeat, please?
Well, I'm trying to say that beyond just manufacturing the drones, what's the line of action, to enforcement chain, to clear lines from drone surveillance to tactical ground response? Because it's not just having these weapons, it's also knowing exactly how to use them.
Okay, so the thing is this. One advantage the drones we have is that we can actually, the feeds from the drones, that's the video feed, the live video feeds from the drone, can actually be patched to the local guys that's the quick reaction force that is on ground, or to the theaters of operation. Do you understand? So what it means basically is that at every point in time, you have everything you need to be able to plan your response. There are certain situations where the solution may not necessarily mean you have to drop payloads on the targets. There are times when you need to walk into the location, maybe in case of kidnaps. I'll paint a picture for you. Let me give you a clear example of a typical kidnap situation that drones have actually helped in salvaging. So now someone has been kidnapped and then there is a ransom to be dropped. Now, what we normally do is to get a drone up, follow the person going to drop the ransom. Sometimes they might make you go for several kilometers away from the area where you took off from. You might go 200, 300 kilometers. We have drones that do all of that. By the time the ransom is dropped, the drone is still over watch. Whoever comes to pick the ransom, the drone follows the person. Most times, the person picking the ransom will lead the drone to most times either the place where the kidnappers are hiding, or where whoever is the sponsor of the kidnap is actually waiting to collect the money. So we have cases where kidnap cases has been solved as a result of drone. We've seen cases where kidnappers have been picked.
Yes. We're running out of time, but just quickly, these innovations, are they completely manufactured in Nigeria, or we just assemble them here?
No, everything is manufactured in Nigeria.
All right.
From the molds down to the body, to the propellers, everything is made in Nigeria.
I understand that you've called for more government support, but some critics say defense startups like yours lack independent oversight. So who's verifying your claims? Are there third-party audits or performance reviews?
I didn't get the question. Could you repeat, please?
I'm asking that who's verifying your claims? Are there third-party audits or performance reviews for what you do?
Okay, the truth is that we've been working with the Nigerian Armed Forces for the past 3 years. So the Armed Forces are the best people to ask how effective our operations has been. There's a company of ours called AIB Stratalk, which is purely a surveillance and intelligence-driven organization. The Breach OS is the drone manufacturing. So if you match what AIB Stratalk and Breach OS is doing for the Nigerian Armed Forces, I believe you can actually tell whether we are succeeding or not.
We have to go now. A very interesting conversation. If you were in a meeting with the president, or let's say governors of Benue and Plateau today, what exactly would you recommend? What would you take responsibility for?
Okay, the truth is that for Plateau State, we've identified the areas of the red zones, and then we've deployed solutions at those locations. We have about 10 camps in Plateau State at the moment. So we've taken charge of monitoring those locations and also keeping eyes on those places where we consider prone to threats. Then also in Benue State, we've identified critical locations that require continuous surveillance. The issue is that between, let's say, Benue, we have insurgents that are coming from Taraba State. We have people that are coming from Nasarawa State. Wamba in particular, for example, we have a lot of insurgents, bandits that come in, migrate into those places, do some nasty things and go back. So what we've done now is to keep an eye on those border locations, all those entry points to the states in questions, and where this is at now.
Bright Chefo is chairman AIB Group, an indigenous drone manufacturing company and defense technology outfit based in Abuja. Thank you for talking to us on the program.
Thank you so much, sir.
Are we taking the fullest advantage of tech innovations in the fight against insecurity? Big question. How much impact is it having on the ongoing onslaught, especially in states like Benue and Plateau? I guess we'll have to find out. That's our show today, everyone. Thanks for being a part of it. I'll see you again tomorrow.